They're just trying to see that you can bring yours. The truth is, about 75% of white kids graduate with their high school class. For Asian kids, the number goes up a little bit to 77%. And for African American kids, the number goes down to 50%. That's right, we have a 50% dropout rate, and it's mostly young brothers. If you're thinking about dropping out of high school, what are you dropping out to do? Well, we want to be the success we see, right? So what do we see? We see the ball players balling, we see the rappers rapping. That's what we want to be.
Tell me, man, a lot of brothers come up and think, oh, I could just jump into the hip-hop game. What do you think?
Or what the game is all about?
A lot of cats that come up to me and say that they thinking about dropping out of high school to get in the rap game. I just plead with them to you know, don't make that mistake. You know, it isn't as easy as you think it is.
They see these glamorous lifestyles. They think that these people somehow were lucky.
There's so many people that have the dream to become a successful entertainer.
The window of people who actually make it is very, very small.
Only like 1 in a million are able to achieve that dream.
I do a lot of workshops with black boys and Latino boys around the country, and these young brothers, all they aspire to be is 3 things: be a rapper, a ball player, or a hustler.
So you want to play pro basketball?
Me on the court. Some of the best basketball players that I've ever played against are the smartest basketball players, because you can depend on them being able to execute a play.
It's all about your intellectual strength. And if you think it's about physically and what you can do with your body, that could be taken away from you in an instant.
Almost all of my success is attributed to my education.
Plan on dropping out. Just give you a little scenario of what might happen. Nothing.
Think of an office building with a lot of doors. You got all these students going in these doors, and coming out the other side is doctors, lawyers, school teachers, anything you want.
Now imagine there's only 2 doors, that same building, and one says rapper and one says ball player. And now you got all of us, all the brothers, running for those 2 doors. So imagine everybody else is shooting at a really big target, and we're shooting at a little narrow target. And our target has a timer on it. If we don't get through the doors by the time we're 30, it's game over.
Son, have you thought about your future? Because the U.S. military...
Here's where the story gets ugly. You're on the street, you got no education. You didn't make it in the hip-hop game, you didn't make it in the ball game, and you didn't enlist in the military. You still gotta eat, you still gotta make money, you still gotta pay rent, you still want all the fly lifestyle, the women, the jewelry, all of it. So how do you get it legally? And the catch is, you don't.
Hey, yo, come here, man. Got that fire for you.
Hey there, baby.
Hey, I got something for you right here, something special tonight.
I got a proposition for you. You wanna make some money?
In these young years, when you're thinking about what I want to do with my life, get knowledge, get smarter. The earlier you drop out, the quicker you're on your way to failure.
Holla at me for a second. You wanna holla at noob?
Where I grew up, there was the predators and the prey. You were gonna be one or the other.
I dropped out of school when I was in the 9th grade.
I didn't learn how to read and write until I was 28.
I'm like, yo, you do a stick up, takes you 5 minutes, you get it over with, you got cheddar in your pocket, you on your way.
When I was 17, I was arrested for armed robbery. I'm looking at like 10 to 25 years. They talk about trialing me as an adult. I got caught up in that drug trade.
The money was so great where I didn't want to stop.
Ended up doing 6 years in New York State Prison.
I was fortunate to get the 5 years I got because I could have been facing a life sentence.
Little Alex got a gun he took from his dad that he snuck in the school in his black book bag, his black nail polish, black boots, and black hair.
If you do not have a good education, you will not get a good job.
If you do not get a good job, you are fast-tracked into prison.
For-profit prisons are beginning to project the number of prisons they will build in 20 years based on 3rd and 4th grade reading scores.
Failing schools equals successful prisons. It's not deep.
There are more black men in lockdown in prison than there are in college. That's a fact. 1 out of 3 black men is going to end up in prison. That is a fact. You understand what I'm saying? They're ready for you. There's a direct line from the schoolhouse right to the jailhouse.
I think a lot of the decisions we make would be better if we valued the relationship with our children. If we understood that if I take this chance, that 2-year-old child of mine is going to be without their father for 4 years. Every little boy, every little girl I know wants their daddy with them.
You're not the only one doing time. You have children, your children are doing time. Their mom only could do so much. And when she's at work and you're away in prison, I mean, the streets is gonna raise them.
You gotta pimp the system. You can't let the system pimp you. The system wants you to drop out. The system wants you to be a criminal because they can make money from you in the penitentiary.
When we were incarcerated, most of us had work numbers. What I mean by work number, we were actually getting paid to do a job.
The whole prison system here in the United States of America is a multi-billion-dollar business. A lot of these prisons are privatized.
What are private prisons going to do? They're going to try to make money. You know, that's what they're all about, how much money they can make so that their stocks could go up.
Somebody's got to make those bulletproof vests. Somebody has got to make those electrical wires. Somebody's got to make that stuff. So why not you?
They allow companies to come in and use the labor, cheap labor, because when you're in prison, people in prison get paid like $15 every 2 weeks. So if you're sitting there thinking you can't have a regular minimum wage job out here in the street, think about that for a minute.
Why were African Americans brought to America? You know the answer. We weren't brought here to run for president. We weren't brought here to be lawyers or doctors, even ball players. We were brought here to be slaves. That's right, that's the truth. We were brought here as cheap labor to work the cotton fields.
Now flash forward 400 years. Cheap labor is being outsourced to foreign countries, so they don't need us the same way.
If you get arrested, if they put you in prison, you're cheap labor again. You're a modern-day slave.
And if you look at the overall population versus the prison population, those numbers, there's a high index. And of course, yes, some of these brothers need to be locked up. I understand that, but not everybody.
Think about Malcolm X, man. Malcolm was a hustler. He used to sell drugs and take drugs. He did a 7-year bid in prison, but did he stop there? Nah. What saved his life? Reading.
But the change isn't gonna come through speakers. It's not gonna come through a TV screen. It has to come from you. It has to come out of you. All our work is meaningless if you don't stand up and take action.
Hold it right there. If you didn't drop out, hang in there. If you did drop out or if you did some time, figure out a way to get back in school and get your high school diploma.
It's simple. Education is the one way to counteract all this prison stuff, you know, to educate folks. Because how they end up in prison in the first place? Because we have a lack of education in the communities that we come from.
I'm so sorry, but with a police record...
When I was at Howard University, I didn't have money. I didn't start stealing. Just went out there and I started hitting the pavement to get a job. You know, I used to be a doorman at like a Hotel Marriott. I used to pump gas and wash windows. I used to clean toilets in this Mexican restaurant. I wasn't having to ask for nothing.